recording, we'll go over the 1094-1095C processing for step 1. To begin, we will need to go out to PAC, Human Resources, Payroll, Year End. We will then click on 1094C/1095C processing and click Run. To begin, we will go to step 1, where we will enter and/or verify employer information for the 1094-1095Cs. To begin, you will need to enter in the name of your employer, your address, your zip code, a phone number, your EIN, and then, if applicable, a TCC. So to continue, I will enter in a phone number. And move down to my TCC number. Lastly, you need to put in your contact information. This is typically the person at your district who is in charge of the filing of your 1094-1095Cs. Once completed, click OK. Secondly, we will move on to step 1A. This is an optional step where you can allow employees to print 1095s electronically if they would like. This will bring us out to the website of the software. Here, the first thing that you need to do is decide what year your 1095 processing for. This would be for 2015. Next is the option to allow employees to receive 1095s electronically. You can check this box. Then you can move down to selection parameters. This is a way that you could narrow down who is allowed to be able to print 1095s electronically via employee access. Lastly is the date for 1095 option visible for employees. The next optional area is that you can have an email sent to employees once they confirm or deny that they would like to receive their 1095s electronically. An example of the confirmation email is as follows. This is a confirmation email notifying you that you have elected to receive your 1095 electronically. I will copy this and paste it in the denial and change this to have not elected to receive your 1095 electronically. The last area of step 1A is the employee notification. If we click this little preview notification hyperlink, it will give us the 3 options that employees will have now when they log into Employee Access. The first is, I do not need a printed copy of my 1095 form for 2015 from my employer. I will print my own form from Employee Access. The second option, I want to receive a printed copy of my 2015 form for 1095 from my employer. And lastly, ask me again later. Another notification that you can put in here to go along with this preview notification is giving your employees a bit more information as to what they are electing for. When you are completed, you can click Save, and this has completed Step 1 and 1A of the 1094-1095C processing. Hello. This recording will go over the 1094C/1095C processing for Step 2 if you are a self-insured district. To begin, we will need to navigate to PAC, Human Resources, Payroll, Year End. Click on 1094C/1095C processing and click Run. We will navigate down to Step 2, where we will create/modify/report our 1095C work file. If it is your first time coming into the work file, you will get a prompt that it is your first time creating your work file. If not, you can simply continue on and click the same top option, but instead it says recreate the 1095-C work file and click run. This is just notifying you that a work file already exists, and if we want to continue by removing the following files, we can do so. When we get into the 1095-C work file, we have 4 main methods up at the top to choose from for how to pull in employees into our 1095-C work file. If we check the box for method 1, the selection parameters then become available. If we use method 1, the parameters to identify an employee in the profile would mean that they are always full-time and should have a 1095 record created. To be included, though, the employee must have also been paid in the reporting year of 2015. If we click the selection parameters, you can see that you can pick from the different type of codes to include all of them or individually select which ones you would like. Next, we have method 2, where you can select employee management plans to pull from. You can pull from more than one employee management plan, so please keep that in mind. Next, we have method 3. This is if someone would not meet the other parameters or who has not been paid in the reporting year, but we still want to have a 1095 created for them. If we use method 3, you can either do an individual employee selection, or you can do an import file from a CSV where you would then just need to have your employee identifier saved on it, and it would pull from that to include those employees. And the last method is using method 4, where we would import from ACA Hours Tracker. If you have those created, which are created out on the web under Web Human Resources, Employee Setup, Utilities, ACA Hours Tracker. If you have one of these, you can pull from those. I will use method 1 to have my employees selected that have been paid in the 2015 reporting year and are full-time. Since we are looking at self-insured district, you would then need to navigate down to the self-insured options area. You would need to make sure that this box of district offered self-insured coverage for the month of the following are selected. You can unselect some of these if you were not self-insured within that month. Within here, then, you have the Use Employee Selection Parameters, which is similar to Method 1, where you can pull in specific types of codes. If you do not want to use those selection parameters, you can also do an individual employee pull-in or the import again from the CSV file. Down below, we have the total employee count parameters. This is used on the 1094-C form, where you would have a full-time employee count and also a total employee count parameters. Within here, this is determining how employees are counted for each month. The main thing to keep in mind is the IRS control date indicates which day of the month that we need to measure on. If the control date is between the employee start date that we select over here and the termination date, then the employee is counted for that month. For our employee start date, I will choose the start date on their employee profile. If blank, I will use the hire date. Then for the IRS control date, I am going to just leave it at first day of each month. It is up to you how you want to pick one of these, though. Another thing to keep in mind is that if your district has not been using termination codes, you may want to start using them so that it doesn't pull in all of your employees that are in your system since you started using Skyward. If your employees have termination codes on them, then they won't be included in the full-time employee count, or the total employee count, not the full-time. Lastly, we have if printing by location, use either check location or building. This determines how the 1095s will be printed out based upon their check location or the building. If we choose check location, all like check locations will print together for easier distribution. Once we are okay with this, we can simply click OK. If we would like, we can print out a report of our creation parameters, which would just show us all of our decisions that we made in this 1095-C work file. I will click No for now. As you can see, we have had 2 files pull in. When our report pulls up, we can show that the first page is just showing us the exact specifications of this report. We can continue on to the next page. From here, we can see that one of our employees that we pulled in, Flo, is pulling in for her 1095 information. We do have an exception, though, that is showing down below. What it is showing is that the employee is excluded from full-time counts for 1 or more months because they use the safe harbor value of 2A, 2B, or 2D. And we can see this because for the months of January through August, there was an offer of coverage of 1E with a safe harbor of 2C. Then in September, there was a change in the offer of coverage that was made. There was an offer of coverage of 1H and a safe harbor of 2A. So for the months of January through August, Flo will be included in the full-time employee count that is shown on the 1094. For the months of September through December, she will not be shown on the full-time employee count. This is an okay exception. It is more of just a notification letting you know that this is why there is a change in the numbers for those months. We continue on to the next page. It just shows us another laundry list listing of the exclusion for Flo. On this next page, we have employees selected in the self-insured parameters, but is not in the 1095 work file. This is because we use the employee selection parameters to pull them in instead of individually pulling specific employees. This is all okay to continue through, and we can just click close. From here, we can move on to the View the 1095-C work file creation parameters. This shows us just our creation parameters for our 1095, and if you'd like, you can report upon it. Next, we have the Modify Current 1095-C work file. This is where you can see the 2 employees that were pulled in and all of their information for their 1095 records. As you can see, the covered individuals are listed down below, along with any changes that were made here for the 1095 records. And here we can see that change for Flo. If you would like, you can click View and see this as it would print out for the 1095, with all of your employer information that we entered in step 1. You can also manually add in employees here. You can edit them, but it is recommended that you edit any of the work file information on the actual employee 1095 record on the employee profile on the website of the software, and then come back out and recreate your work file. You can also manually delete out employees from your work file that do not need to be here, or purge your entire work file and start over. Next, we have optional reports. We can have a report of our 1095-C work file with exceptions only, which we already looked at after we created our 1095 work file. And also we can have a report of all of our 1095 work files for all of our employees. Lastly, we have the 1095-C file tracker. This is used to see any creation or removal dates for information that pertains to this work file master for the 1095-C work file. This includes the 1094-C/1095-C processing for step 2 of the 1095 process. Hello. This recording will go over the 1094-C/1095-C processing for step 2 if you are not self-insured district. To begin, we will need to navigate to PAC, Human Resources, Payroll, Year-End. Click on 1094-C/1095-C processing and click Run. We will navigate down to step 2, where we will create/modify/report our 1095-C work file. If this is your first time coming into the step 2 process, you will get a prompt saying this is your first time. Since I have already been in here, I have the option to recreate my 1095-C work file. I will click Run. This is letting me know that I will be removing the following files that were already created in my work file, and am I sure I want to continue? I will click Yes. At the top, we have 4 different methods on how we can bring in employees into the 1095-C work file. Method 1, if we check the box, we can use the selection parameters here. Method 1 is used if your employees are full-time always and should have a 1095 record created. To be included, these employees must have also been paid in the 2015 reporting year. If we click on selection parameters, we can then choose from different codes where we can select all of them or specific ones to only pull in. Usually, districts are using benefit and deduction codes to pull in employees if they were offered health insurance. This is just an example, though. Next, we have method 2, where we can select from employee management plans. You can select more than one employee management plan if you would like. You can then also narrow down your selection parameters based off of position, assignments, groups, departments, salary matrices, pay codes, job type codes, and calendar codes. Method 3 is for the selection of employees who will not meet the other parameters or who have not been paid in the reporting year, but you still want a 1095 created for them. For this, you have an individual employee selection, which is how I brought in the 2 employees that are shown. Or you can do an import that will go from a CSV file and pull in based off of an employee identifier, as listed here. Then we have method 4, which is the import from ACA hours tracker. This is a utility that can be created out in the website of the software if you navigate to Web, Human Resources, Employees, Setup, Utilities. It's the ACA hours tracker. If you've created any of those trackers, you can select them here and have your employees pull in this way. Since this is not a self-insured district that we are showing, the self-insured options down below can be disregarded. The last 2 areas on this screen are the total employee count parameters. These parameters define how employees are counted for each month. This will be determined on the 1094 report. There will be a full-time employee count and a total employee count. The total employee count pulls in all employees in your system that are both active and inactive. The way that this will work is you can pull in employees based off of the employee start date. If blank, use the hire date, or you can use any of these other dates listed below. Then you have the IRS control date. The IRS control date indicates which day of the month to measure on. If the control date is between the employee start date, as selected over here, and the termination date on the employee profile, then the employee is counted for that month. Lastly, termination codes come into play. This is used because if an employee is inactive, but they do not have a termination code on their profile, they will be pulled into the total employee count. This means that all employees that are in your Skyward software since you started using Skyward will be included. If you do not want these employees to be pulled into the total employee count that is used to determine if you're an ALE member for the 1094 report, you will need to apply termination codes to them. And lastly, we have if printing out the 1095s and not having Skyward print them, how do you want to have them print? By location of the check or the building. This means that all like codes will be printed together. Once this is set up, you can click OK. If we would like to have a report of our creation parameters, we can click Yes. This simply will show the exact parameters that we just selected. For this, I will click No. The 1095-C work file was created successfully, and the number of records being created is 2. A report will then appear, letting you know of any exceptions that have occurred. For example, Flo has a 1095 that will be printed, and you can see all of her information here, but there is a warning message down below. This employee will be excluded from the full-time count for 1 or more months because they use the safe harbor value of 2A, 2B, or 2D. As you can see, for the months of January through August, what will be included on the full-time employee count for those months that are reported on the 1094. However, for September through December, she will not be included on the full-time count because she had a safe harbor value of 2A, which is part of the 2A, 2B, or 2G warning message listed here. No changes need to be occurring, but for this, it is just a warning message to let you know that this is why there is a change that may appear on that full-time employee count. Here is the same exclusion, just listed in a laundry list format. And next we have any employees that were being pulled in because they were paid in 2015 but are not receiving a 1095 in this submission. This can just be disregarded. You can simply click Close. Next, we have to view the 1095-C work file creation parameters, which would be all of the information that is shown on our creation that we had in the last screen. We can click Run. As I said, this is just letting us know of our creation parameters, and you can report upon this if you would like. Next, we have the Modify Current 1095-C work file, and we can click Run. Here it shows us all of our employees that are included in our 1095-C work file and all of their information listed below. Since we are not self-insured, the covered individuals will not be listed down below. You do have a couple options off to the right-hand side. You can view the 1095 as it will print out, which shows information that was set up in step 1 of the 1094-1095 process. You also can manually add in an employee here, edit the employee information. We do suggest, though, that if you need to make any modifications to the 1095 information for an employee, you do it on the employee profile on the website of the software under their 1094-C/1095-C information. Then come back out and recreate your work file so that the information is accurate between the two. You can also manually delete out employees that no longer need to be on this work file. And lastly, you have a purge to purge out all of the employees that are in this work file for this year. Next, we have two optional reports. We have the Report 1095-C work file exceptions only, which we already looked at when we created our work file. And lastly, we have the Report 1095-C work file for all of our employees. Next, we have the 1095-C file tracker. This is where we can view the creation/removal dates and information about this work file so that you can see who and when changes were made. And this concludes step 2 of the 1094-C/1095-C processing for not self-insured districts.
Hello. During this recording, we will talk about step 3 of the 1094/1095-B and C process. These are both the same for B and C. I will show you it in the 1094/1095-C processing screen, however. For this, we'll need to navigate to PAC, Human Resources, Payroll, Year-End. I will click on the 1094-C/1095-C processing, but it can be completed running the same step within 1094-B/1095-B processing, and the screens look the same. Here we will click on step 3 of Create 1095-C print file, and this is used to print the actual 1095-Cs. First, we will create the 1095-C print file and click Run. Now you have the option to select the sequence to print the employee 1095-Cs by employee, state/employee, state/location/employee, or location/employee. For mine, I will keep it as option 1 of employee. This is letting you know that the 1095-C print file sequence allows you to select the order that they are printed in. If you need the print sort sequence on pressure seals, you can check the box below. Here we will click OK. 4 total employees processed and 4 employees to print form 1095-C have been created. We will click OK. the file year of 2015, and now it's showing the Employee 1095-C print file was originally created, last created, and then where the location of this occurred. This is just a date stamp for you. We can click close. Next, we have some optional processes. We can view the 1095-C print file date/timestamps and click run, which shows us the same information we just saw on the last screen. Or if we want to extract copies of 1095-C print files from the database. This is a good option to save them outside of the database for you in another location. You would just click extract and choose your new file location that you would save it at. And click close. This concludes the step 3 of 1095-C work file information.
Hello. This recording will go over the 1094/1095 processing for step 4 with both B and C forms. It is the same process for both B and C forms, but I will be showing it in the 1094/1095C forms. To begin, we'll need to navigate to PAC, Human Resources, Payroll, Year-End. Click on the appropriate file that you need to be processing for, and click Run. Navigate down to step 4, where we will print the 1095-Cs. You can pick between printing on 11-inch blank paper or on a pressure seal 14-inch paper. The process is the same for both, but I will be showing it in the 11-inch blank form. We will get a prompt saying if we would like to view /print a totals page. I will click yes. Here we have our totals page, showing that the total number of employees to have 1095 printed is 2, and the number of employees to print is also 2. On here we also have the employer federal ID number and our employer address as we entered in for step 1. Here you can print this, save it, or simply click close. Now we get a prompt to load in our forms before we begin processing. Once you have your paper loaded into your printer, you can click yes to continue with the process. Here is the horizontal and vertical offsets for your printing. The default value is 0 for each of these. It is a good idea, however, though, to print the test page until you have the offsets correct for the printing of this. Depending upon your printer, you may need to adjust how the data prints for these in order for it to print within each of the designated boxes as it needs to be printed. A test page will only print the boxes and lines, and no data will actually print on your test file. Simply, you can change these and click Test or click Continue once you have your offset corrected. Here we have our actual 1095-C forms pulled up. As you can see, it has all of our information that we have entered in our previous steps listed up above, along with the instructions for the recipients down below. Both of our files are created here, and we can print these out. Once completed, click Close. Now we are getting a prompt to save the print package in saved reports, yes or no. I would suggest clicking yes, but I will click no for this recording. Once completed, you can click Close. There is an optional step, which is 4A. This is where you would actually submit your files for Skyward to print for you, using our printing service. What you would need to enter here is your email address. This should be the email address most likely that is used when you signed up for your forms to be printed for Skyward. Once you click OK, you will receive an email confirmation within a few days letting you know that your 1095 have been received to be printed. You would simply click OK. This concludes step 4 and 4A of the 1094/1095 processing. Hello. This recording will go over the 1094/1095 processing for both B and C's for step 5. To begin, we will need to navigate to PAC, Human Resources, Payroll, Year-End. I will be showing this process in the C form, but it is the exact same for the B form. We will navigate down to step 5, where we will create the electronic 1094/1095 files that we will send to the federal government. We will begin by clicking the first option of Create the 1094/1095 electronic submission files. The first thing that you need to do is browse for a file location where you will save the documents that will now be saved once we complete this form, to then submit to the IRS. The first option that we will look at within the 1094-C transmitter information is this the authoritative transmittal for this ALE number? If yes, check this box and continue. If no, see IRS directions. From here, we move on to Part 2, ALE number information. The total number of forms by the 1095-C filed by and/or on behalf of ALE member. This comes from how many 1095s were created in your work file and printed off. Next option is ALE member a member of an aggregated ALE group? Below, we have the certifications of eligibility. Select all that apply. Skyward automatically will select the Section 4980H transition relief. This is requesting that a district has the ability to only have 70% accuracy. With this checked, you will then need to navigate over to the right-hand column and either put in an A or a B for the qualifying months or all 12 months. Which needs to be used will need to be looked at on the IRS website. Next, we have Part 4, where it's other ALE members of aggregated ALE groups, if you need to add those here. Part 3 is the ALE member information on a monthly basis. The first column is minimum offer indicator. If you need to have this checked, you can check it for all 12 months or for the specific months that it applies. The next column is the full-time employee count. This comes off of your 1095 forms that you have printed. Depending upon which safe harbor codes were picked, will decide if a full-time employee count will have an employee included on it or not. The next is the total employee count. This comes from when we created the 1095 work file, and we had different options like start date, end date, hire date, termination codes. From here, you can also recalculate these counts if need be. And lastly, we have the aggregated group indicator. This can also be checked on a per month basis or for all 12 months. When this is complete, you would simply click Run. You can then view your 1094-1095 electronic file date and stamps that they were created. And lastly, you extract the copies of your 1094-1095 electronic files from the database. Here, your manifest and your request files would be created once you have the first step within Step 5 created and completed. You would then click Extract and go to the IRS website and upload your files. From there, you would then move on to Step 5A once you have heard back from the IRS on whether or not your files have been accepted with errors, or rejected. So here, you would come to Step 5A and click Enter Receipt ID and finalize this transmission. From here, you would enter in your transmission receipt ID that you received from the IRS when you submitted your manifest and request files. On there, it would say if it's been accepted with errors, or rejected. You would choose the option that is selected and click OK. This concludes Step 5 and 5A of the 1094-1095 processing for B and C forms. Hello. This recording will go over the 1094/1095 B and C processing for Step 6. It is the same for B and C forms, but I will be showing it in C. To begin, we will need to navigate to PAC, Human Resources, Payroll, Year-End. Click on the appropriate 1094-1095 processing information and click Run. Navigate down to Step 6, where we will create the individual 1095 PDF files. If you selected to allow your employees to receive electronic copies of their 1095s, in Step 1A, this is a required step. However, these do not actually post to employee access until Step 7. will click on the top option of Create Individual 1095 PDF Files. There is also an option to purge out the PDF files if need be. This may take a few minutes, so just be prepared that it could take a couple minutes, but if you are ready to proceed with the creation of your PDF files, click Yes. You will get a message when the PDF creation process has been completed. For our scenario, a total of 2 1095-C PDF files were created and stored in the database. We can click OK. From here, we can actually navigate out to the website of the software to the employee profile, and we can see within the employee profile, under ACA information and 1095 transmissions, that for the year of 2015, there has been a form for 1095-C created in Transmission 1 available. We can, from here, view the PDF if you have the employee's Social Security number to be able to print it again. Once again, this step does not give access to the 1095 forms on Employee Access. That is completed in Step 7. This concludes Step 6 of the 1094-1095 processing.
Hello, this recording will go over Step 7 of the 1094/1095 processing checklist. This can be completed for both B and C forms and is the same screen. For recording purposes, I will be working through this on the 1095-C. First, we need to navigate to PAC, Human Resources, Payroll, Year-End. We will then navigate down to Step 7, the 1095 Process Final Checklist. Here, it just gives you a few friendly reminders to complete the following. Distribute your 1095 to employees, submit the federal electronic file to the Internal Revenue Service if you are doing your filing that way, or due to the IRS by the end of February if filing by paper. Next, we have the Employee Access options. This is where you would give the option to post the 1095s to Employee Access and make the electronic copies available for printing. We will click Edit. Here we will check the box for Allow Viewing/Printing of the 2015 1095 transmission forms from Employee Access and click OK. If you did do the option within Step 1A of giving your employees the option to receive their 1095s electronically from Employee Access, a few more pop-up messages would come up just notifying you that you can then send them emails letting them know that their 1095s are available for printing. Once completed, you can then just click Close. And congratulations, you just completed the final step of the 1095 processing. You can just select Close and exit the 1095 processing screen.